Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Spencer TCG here with another video about drafting. This one was done at my local game store, so you guys get to see a live draft. During the draft, I'm going to try to put the cards in one of the corners just to make them a little bit bigger for you so you guys can see them. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. So this video will be helpful for new drafters, maybe who've never drafted before, I've only done a couple, and more experienced ones as I want to talk about, my deck building thought process as I go along. So I think there'll be something for everyone in this video. So the first thing you guys are going to do is open up your packs and pull out the leaders and the bases. Try to keep sure that your pack is face down. You don't want any extra knowledge. And then you can put the packs either to the side or you can put them back in the paper. I was kind of deciding which one I wanted to do. I probably should have opened the packs a little bit better, but that is neither here nor there. So yeah, you're going to take out all three of your leaders. Now you can see the person in front of me opened his packs much quicker than I did. He was very excited to see his leaders, and he's actually going to pass me his leaders before I choose mine. So when you guys are drafting, make sure, and you can see right there, make sure that you don't do this so your opponent doesn't have extra information. Ideally, in like a really professional draft setting, there's going to be someone timing it for you and then telling you when to pass it. That way you won't get any extra information. But this is just a local one, more for fun, right? Even though it is a quote-unquote tournament setting. So I got pretty unlucky here, even though these are three rare leaders. It's not really good to get the rare leaders because actually the common ones are usually stronger and more have more synergy in the draft. We have Hunter, who has good stats, but pretty much no effect. We have Finn with, similar thing. It comes out on 5, which is kind of nice, but really hard to use his ability. And then we have Kylo, who has a strong ability, but hard to make use of his leaderness. But in a draft format, you can really push Kylo, I think, sometimes. Even though I gave him a lower rating, sometimes you can make a really good draft deck that is really low to the ground. It's just a little bit risky. So I end up going with the Kylo because I think the other two are useless. And now we have Lando and with Hondo in front of us, if I'm saying his name right. Well, we'll look later. Lando's pretty useless, so I just take the green one, and then we're left with Boba, which again, we didn't really know. We're not supposed to know, but I obviously saw that it was going to be there in the end. So we have two bad guys and one good guy as our leader choices. I'll put them up there as well. So now I have to decide which one to play. It's really good for you to now look around the table before. So I did it really quickly, but so I know kind of who's around me. So it's really important to know what's next to you. And you'll see I actually spend a pretty long time on this first pack, which is okay, guys. Again, in a professional draft setting, usually you have about 60 to 65 seconds on the first pick, which I think is a long time, especially if you know what all the cards in the pack do. So I'm looking around the table to see what everyone else is playing so I can not, if you guys are new to draft, you don't want to contest, too many people over the same cards. It'd be nice if everyone around you was good guys and you were the one bad guy, right? So Chewbacca is a very strong card in this pack, but it's a really, really huge commit to take that Chewbacca. While it is a very powerful card, it means I'm playing Boba and I'm playing Boba Blue, which is a crazy decision to make on pack one, pick one. So you experienced drafters, don't lock yourself in like that too early. It can be bad. So I probably want to go towards, my stronger leader. Hondo's okay. I feel I don't know why. I was feeling Kylo today, and I don't really have a Hondo card, but Punishing One is a very good space unit. It is a 3/4, which is big. It has a relevant ability, and I can probably use them with Hondo or Kylo. So we're probably going to pick the Punishing One. Obviously I know what I'm picking because I've already done this. But, I'm just really looking at the other cards in the pack. I was just spending probably a little bit too long on this first pick. But, it's okay, guys. It's, don't feel like, you're holding up the table. Go at your own speed. Just don't go too slow. But, go at your own speed. Don't feel like you're holding up the table. Try to get better at drafting and make a informed decision. So I figured the person to the right of me, I think, was on some yellow deck, because they had Cad Bane, and Cad Bane's really powerful. And then 2 to the right of me was on Rey, so, blue and yellow. So I was, again, and then the person in front of me, I think he's probably going to play Bossk, but I am the one passing to him first. So it's a little bit better. Like if we're both playing Kylo, like if I'm playing Kylo, he's playing boss, we're both red black. It's like kind of okay for me because he only cuts me off in 1 pack, where I'm cutting him off for 2 packs. So it's actually kind of okay to be playing Kylo here. But yeah, we end up going with the Punishing One, which I'll put up there. You guys can see what Punishing One does, if you guys did not know. And yeah, I mean, I'm not like super committed, obviously. I can put that in 2 different leaders if I wanted to. It's just a strong space unit. I don't think I'd ever play 5 for it or 5 for it if I played Boba. So we have Chrysanthemum, which is a very strong card, and we have Toro, I think his name is, Calrissian, which is also a very good card. Now, if I'm leaning towards Kylo, I probably want to be picking something that costs less than 4, because 3 drops are really strong in Kylo because you can play it, of course, on 3 resources, and then on 4 resources with a 1 drop to empty out your hand. Now, there's 2 ways to really be thinking about when you play Kylo. You can play like this super aggressive line where you just empty out your hand and then play Kylo and then beat him with Kylo. Or you think of Kylo as kind of a leader that just swings for 5 whenever you want to. You don't necessarily have to bring him out at 4 resources. You can just say, hey, I'm going to get 5 damage in. And maybe like the board is safe enough that I'll be able to attack with him in the following turn. And if you're that kind of Kylo, which I did play in a sealed and go 3-0 with, if you're that kind of Kylo, like your deck can be all sorts of costs and you don't really need to worry about getting 1 drops. Now, I was thinking more in this draft that I might play the 1-droppy version of Kylo, where we're just emptying out our hand as fast as possible. So I end up going with Unlicensed Headhunter, which is a 3/2 spaceship. It does have that bounty that heals 5 to my opponent, but it's actually pretty hard for my opponent to make use of the bounty because it untaps at the start of your turn. And so if they attack it right away and kill it, if they do have a space unit or use a kill spell, well, then they're not healing the 5. And if you got to attack with it, well, then it's like kind of only healing 2 from their base. But a lot of the times, this thing can just hit them over and over and over again. So again, you can just see me looking at the cards. It's really important to not just narrow down on your own cards. I'm kind of giving a good feel for each card in the pack because I want to know what's going around the table, right, guys? Like these cards in my hand will be in other people's decks. And I might play against those people. So it's just good to have an idea of what people are doing. I take Outlaw Corona. This card also seems like it has a risky bounty, but it's a 3/5. There's not much that kills it. It getting captured is like the worst case scenario for you because they still get the bounty effect. But Outlaw Corona is a very strong spaceship and usually sticks around long enough to hit your opponent until they're dead. This card is very good, I think, in a draft and sealed setting, especially after playing with it more. And, you know, space units are just always good to have. Sometimes you can go like a really space-heavy Kylo deck and just be continuously bouncing them. Up here, I take Hutt's Henchman. I'm not sure if I'm like in love with this pick that I did. I guess wasn't really sure if I was, you know, the curving out Kylo deck yet or the aggro one. I didn't have a 4-drop. I like this 4-drop because it's an Underworld and it has shielded, which means it's probably going to stick around. So it's kind of like guaranteed 3 damage. But as you guys see, I take less time, you know, as I go through. I'm just, again, you can see I double check everyone's cards, but I'm pretty already confident on my pick. I just want to know what's going around the table. So this one, we're going to take Disabling Fangfighter, which is nice in this set. It is a reprint, but it has When Played, you know, you may defeat an upgrade, and there are tons of upgrades that your opponent can be playing on their units, or they could be playing the bounty upgrades on your own units, and you can take those off, which is nice. It's also just a spaceship that attacks for 3, and those are good. Those help you beat your opponent, and they're nice. So here I have, you know, some 1-drop options that I could play. Lady Proxima and Dengar. I rated Dengar pretty low in my video. I also gave it a D. You know, D doesn't mean they're unplayable. They're just like niche. And, you know, I'm going for a really niche idea here if I'm going to do the aggro line. Lady Proxima is another reason why I want to pick an Underworld card because you might end up with a lot of Underworld units and make use of Lady Proxima. But I think having a 2/3 is just a little bit better. So we end up going with that Dengar, which is still an Underworld unit. It's also a Bounty Hunter that helps me untap my Toro, which I was also considering. And then here we have another 1-drop option in our pack. And it doesn't really look like the rest of the pack is okay. Oh, we know we have a 3/4. I really like 3-cost 3/4s, guys. It's probably never going to cost 2 for us because, I don't know, you know. But we're going to take the Reputable Hunter. I just really like the stat line. It lives through most things, so it's like guaranteed 3 damage. Next up, I'm probably considering, you know, the Gunship or the Warbird Stowaway. I kind of like this card because it has Smuggle, but again, we're playing Kylo, and if we're playing the aggressive Kylo, I'm probably almost never smuggling. But I like that if I just play this card, I can swing for 4 sometimes. I just think it's like a little bit harder to make use of that ability. If you have like a wide board, right? When are you going to have the initiative if you're doing lots and lots of attacking? I take a second Outlaw Corona, so I probably really want spaceships, and then I take a Rokai Gunship, and as you guys can see, when the packs are really small, it's really easy to make your pick. And if there's nothing in the pack, you can always hate draft something away from your opponent. Stolen Landspeeder is actually a pretty good card for Bossk, but the person next to you is never your first opponent, and usually not their second either. So yeah, we end up just taking a buff card, which I'll probably never play, and then I actually get a 2-cost 2/3 here at the end, and then we get a Bo-Katan. And then, so again, for your new drafters, after you finish drafting, you get like a review period. In Star Wars Unlimited, they actually allow you to review your cards while you're drafting, which is not very common in draft games, but I think in a more professional setting, they might not let you look at your cards. But either way, feel free to look at your cards while you're drafting. Just make sure all your piles are clear so no one thinks there is any cheating, or, you know, you don't want to confuse cards by accident. But it's a good idea to just review your draft to check out all your cost. You can see I usually group my cards up pretty well. I have a lot of 3 costs right now. So I could be playing like the curve out Kylo, not the aggressive one, but I could also just draft like 1s and 2s for the rest of the draft and just have this really, really aggressive pool. 3 drops are pretty good throughout the game. A lot of the times they have good stats, no matter when you play them. Like 3/4, 3/5 can just live against a lot of things. And now we're just chilling. So after the review period, we go into our second pack. Make sure you put your cards down in one single face down pile and start pack number 2. Oh, and we get a legendary, the Mandalorian. Now this is a for fun draft that costs like 25 bucks. And so I'm probably just going to take my money back and take that Mandalorian and sell it for $20. Now, if I was playing, you know, this huge cash tournament where like first place was like $1 bajillion, I would definitely not take the Mandalorian unless, yeah, you know, I don't think Mandalorian is like crazy strong that like I don't want other people to like grab it or I'll lose the game. So like if it's a crazy legendary that's worth the money, and like if you think you pass it, like someone might just win the whole draft, like, you know, that those cards are in the pool, take it. But you know, it's not a crazy legendary, so I probably would have maybe taken the 1-drop Dengar if I didn't care about having $20 in my pocket. So there is that. Next up, I'm sad. I see Gentle Giants. I see Mandalorian. I'm like, man, if only I took that Chewbacca in the beginning, maybe I could have done this green-blue plan. And, you know, I did consider it. It's just that, like, I saw the Rey 2 players to my right. I was going to be getting cut off from him all day. And I was pretty sure that the person next to me was playing yellow. Yellow and blue, I think, have a good pairing. But I do think, at the end of the day, like, picking Kylo, it wasn't really wrong in any decision with what leader I went. So I probably could have ended up trying Boba. I just really wanted to do a Kylo sort of deck here. Ooh, and now we have a cool card coming up. We have Choose Sides. Now, even if I made like this super aggressive deck, I think I'm okay with having one thing that costs a lot because I could always resource it. But it looked like, if it looks like my game is like becoming doomed, Choose Sides can actually save me. I can take, you know, one of the 1-drops that I'll probably have a bajillion of and switch it with my opponent's best card and hope like that's enough for the final push to win the game. So I was considering Choose Sides. It's also good in the curve out version if you have some 1-drops, which I do. I'm saying 1-drops just because you want to give your opponent, you know, not the best card. And as you see, we're passing back to the right. So, you know, we were passing left last pack, and now we're passing to the right. And then we see the Clan Challengers. This is actually like one of my favorite cards. I really like the Clan Challengers, no matter what I'm playing. I think it's really good top end for Kylo. It swings for 6, which is just a big number, and it has 6 health, which is also a big number. This card is one of the better cards, I would say, in Draft and Sealed. I probably gave it a B rating, but, you know, I might even push this thing up to an A. It's been feeling really, really good in practice. Next up, we could talk about like Outland TIE Vanguard. It's in the pack right now. I like this card, kind of. You know, it has to be in a very specific deck. Like, usually you don't want to play it turn 1 because it's not able to give its experience token to itself. So you probably want to be playing it on turn 2 in conjunction with the 1-drop, or to follow up the card you played the turn before. But, you know, if you're playing it just on turn 2, then you're just getting a 3-2 of stats, which is a little below rate. So you really want to be playing this card with lots of 1-drops in your deck, which again is gearing me towards this like really aggressive plan. And then I see in the next pack that there's a Dengar again. I did get removal with the Tension Block Rescue, and I always give removal a premium. It's at least always like a B. Like if I took that card, it would always go in my deck. But I'm thinking that maybe I just want, you know, just to maximize on all these 1-drops and have enough that I can, you know, just effectively do my Kylo plan. So I do take the 1-drop. Also, I wanted to add that Detention Block Rescue have been a little underwhelming. Just 3 damage isn't a lot, but it does really shine sometimes when your opponent captures something and you're able to do 6. But yeah, I think it's one of the more underwhelming removal tools of the set. I much rather have the 1-cost card that does 2 damage to a unit or base. And here I am filled with Dengars. I think that's my 3rd one. So I don't know if I want 4, just because it is a unique unit, so you can never play 2 next to each other. But yeah. Next up, I see another Outland TIE Vanguard in my pack. Again, I like this card, especially now that I'm seeing all these 1-drops. I'm starting to feel the synergy coming alive. We're definitely moving towards the more aggressive Kylo plan. This pack has absolutely nothing for us. So I'm either considering Remnant Reserves or hate drafting away something. I could hate draft the Spaceship or the Ambush card. It's actually really annoying that there's 2 pretty good cards against us. But Remnant Reserves, I was also thinking of this being like a late game tool if I ever get there, to just like draw me a bunch of low cost cards and close out games that way. Now, I don't think I mentioned it, but these are going to be best of 1 games, and I am going to show them on the channel. I can't believe that 2 Hunting Nexus are still in this pack. The card's really good, guys. I'm surprised the person next to me who's playing Bosk didn't take one, but it must have been another good card in the pack. And then, you know, we're just left with, you know, practically nothing, and we'll let the packs run out. But I was saying, so these are best of 1s. It's a really fast tournament, and a best of 1 format, you know, Remnant Reserves I think is a little bit worse. I think that card is like really situational, and if you know exactly what your opponent's playing, then, you know, Remnant Reserves becomes better. I take Cassian Andor in that pack. It's just like a hate draft card. You know, I'm just like saying, what card is going to be better against me? A big spaceship or a big ground unit? I literally have no idea. We just take away the card that one-shots my Kylo. And yeah, we have finished that up. And now, again, we are reviewing everything we got. Try not to make lots of piles, guys, just because it's confusing. So I know there might be some cards in your stack that you're not going to use. Usually just put them on like the bottom or something, or the top. Just like put them to this, you know, keep them in the same stack, but put them on quote unquote to the side. And now I'm drawing my new pack like it's a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards for whatever reason. Oh, we get the IG. Really like IG. So we have a 2-drop in here that we can definitely take, the Housecast Soldier, or we can take this IG-11. I really like IG-11. It swings for 6. So I know I already have 1 5-drop, but I definitely wouldn't mind a second one. Maybe 3 would be too many, but a second one would be good. I could also take this Enfant Mon. You know, we haven't really talked about it, but my second color is definitely green. I've taken a bunch of green cards, so we're going to be red-green. Again, you can choose whatever base you want to. It was also just ideal for me to take green cards as secondary, because that means I have like a choice of 2 leaders right now. As long as I take all red-green right, I can pick between the 2 leaders, which is just a nice feel. And this pack is super shiny. I got a hyperspace foil and then another hyperspace, and I think there was just a good foil in there as well. So we get another Detention Block Rescue. I probably want to take it this time because I did skip on one already, and I probably don't want to skip on 2 removal sources, and it'd be nice to have at least 1 card in my deck that can just do damage from hand. So we end up taking that Detention Block Rescue. It's just always nice to have some sort of removal in your deck. Ooh, next up I see the Death Watch Loyalist. I have mixed feelings about this card. I think that if your opponent plays like a understated attack card, its card can be like really disgusting sometimes. You can like manufacture scenarios where it's able to attack into that unit, live, and then like, you know, hit your opponent for 5 the next turn. But it has really weak defense. It can just die to a 2-costed 3/2. And, you know, that's not exactly where I want to be. Dying to a 2-cost 3/2, right? I'm just down mana. Ooh, that spaceship is really strong. Really wish I was blue right now. I think it's called like First Light or something. The one that, yeah, First Light has like, comes in for Smuggle 7. The card's actually like just a super crazy draft and sealed card. Surprised it's still in the pack. No one must be blue because I would have always picked that card. So this pack has a 1-drop in it, the Guavian Antagonizer, the one that I was talking about with Bounty. Again, it's the card I rated a little bit lower because of this Bounty, and maybe I confused it with Dengar earlier, but that's okay. They're both 1-drops. Like, so the problem with Dengar is that it's like a 2/2, and like one costed 2/2s are just like a little weak because they died at 2/3s, and then one costed 2/3s are really good, but you know, this one has a downside in that my opponent gets a draw card. But I'm not as worried as my opponent drawing a card in this situation because I'm just trying to kill them, right? So I don't really mind that the card has that downside because they're just going to be dead. So next up, we take the Outlaw Corona, which I think now is my 3rd one. This card is not unique, so I can have multiple of them on the board. And again, it's just hard to deal with, and it's a nice space unit. So we're pretty locked into Kylo, but again, we don't even have to play Kylo, guys. We could switch to my other leader if I wanted to. Play Hondo. I just didn't get many smuggle cards, but I could play Hondo because I went red-green all the way. Next up, we take the Ruthless Assassin. I really like this card. It's kind of like just like a 2-cost 3/1 because you usually do the 2 damage to itself, but you can always put the 2 damage somewhere else. And it has Overwhelm, so sometimes it gets to attack a unit and just do a little bit extra damage. And then, yeah, so in this next pack, we have the choice between Outland TIE Vanguard and Disabling Fangfighter. I know I've already taken a few Outland TIE Vanguards, and I do really like the, you know, usability of Disabling Fangfighter of killing units, and I get instantly rewarded because in the next pack there's an Outland TIE Vanguard. People do not like this card, it looks like. And I would say, again, it's usually pretty weak, but in my deck specifically, it just has a really good goal and purpose. And now we're up with another 1-drop. So I think in this like last pack, I got pretty lucky. There was a lot of really good 1-and-true drops that like held true to my theme. And like the cool thing about pack 3 is if there was a lot of expensive things, I could have ended up playing like the more curve out style of Kylo. Now we take House Cast Soldier, which is just a 2-cost 2/3. Really important to have turn 1 plays. Having loads of 2 and 1 drops is nice because on turn 1 you could play a 2-drop. On turn 2 you can play a 1-drop and a 2-drop. You know, on turn 3, you could play 2 2-drops. So like having like these low cards where you can play a 3-drop and a 1-drop, right? Having multiples of them isn't really that bad because I do want to empty my hand if I want to swing for 5 on turn 3 with Kylo. We ended up taking like the 8th Outlaw Corona, and we get a Warzone Lieutenant, and then at the end we get a Collections Starhopper. Warzone Lieutenant, again, is just pretty much a vanilla 1-cost 2/2. Again, I normally wouldn't take this card. I just want 1 cost in my deck. And Collection Starhopper is just an understated spaceship. But it's a spaceship, and I'll probably be resourcing this card most of the time, or maybe even cutting it. But it's a card I can play. Alright, guys, so now once you have collected all of your cards from your draft, you get to now make the deck. There is no reason for me fanning them out. I'm just doing what I do. But yes, so when making your deck, guys, you know, you could probably put to the side all the cards you're definitely not going to play. So it looks like I have 5 cards that I'm not playing for Sigil. And then you probably want to lay your cards out by cost. So organize all your cards, your 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and so on. Put them into piles and see what you're working with. I just go through my stack altogether, and now again I'm going to sort them by these costs. Usually you want to have some sort of curve. In this game it's pretty hard to tell you guys exactly what those numbers should be. It really depends on your leader. So I wouldn't think of exact numbers. Since I know I want to be drafting a very aggressive deck, I probably want to keep all my 1-drops. It's just the idea. Even though I have 3 Dengars and you can't have multiples at the same time, my opponent's going to be trying to kill my creatures so they don't die, right? And now we're doing the 2-drops. So these are like my, again, turn 1 plays that I could possibly do. And I lay them all out. I'm not really excited about, you know, the collection Star Hopper that we were talking about earlier. So if I need to make a cut, that might be it. Speaking of cuts, we should probably, most likely, definitely, guys, always be playing 30 cards. I'm an aggressive deck, so I just want to play my 30 best cards. If you're a more control deck, I can see adding a couple cards. If you're worried that your deck goes always so long that you don't want to take like fatigue damage by not having cards in your deck left. But try to play 30, because even if you're in a control deck, like just play your 30 best cards. I start pulling away cards. Remnant Reserves is definitely like not crazy about it. Also, if you guys know me, don't like upgrades, don't like pumps, so I don't like outflank. I mean, that one, you know, we get to attack with 2 units, but it doesn't, like, you know, add any sort of stats or anything. It could have been a good tempo play, though. Like, outflank, honestly, in this deck might have been a good call. The one game, I guess I don't want to spoil it, but maybe we'll talk about outflank later when you guys see my games, because I did record all 3 of them. And I will post those probably all together. They're actually really fast because, like I said, they're best of ones. So I'll make another video, and then we'll just put them all together, and I'll show you guys. So we've laid out all our cards, 1s, 2s, and 3s. And as you guys can see, my curve is extremely low. Like, look at that. 1, 2s, and 3s is like the majority of my pile. I have 2 4-drops, 2 5-drops, and a 7-drop. And then those cards are putting away. So we have like 4, 7 cards that we've put away. So we do need to make a couple more cuts. Like looking at this right now, you know, I would say deck construction in general after drafting is pretty simple because there's not many cards you have to cut. But, you know, there's still considerations to be made. I'd say a couple cards that I could consider cutting is maybe my 2-costed, you know, there it is, the Collection Star Hopper, the 2-cost 2/2, just because it's a weaker space unit. I could also cut Unlicensed Headhunter. It's the 2-cost 3/2 with Bounty Heal 5. I kind of like that card, but I actually like it in multiples, like just having a lot of space units, like a consistent space plan, which I don't really have going for me right now. It seems like I'm more ground with like some space support in like the later parts of the game with all these 3-costed space units, I guess to say. Like, you know, it's weird me saying that I'm not like space focused, but like having lots of 2-drop space units is like where you get space focused. And again, now you guys are like, hey, you have like 3 Outland TIE Vanguards, but I'm not playing that card turn 1, so it's not, you know, truly a turn 1 space unit play. Yeah. So it seems like I'm trying to win on the ground and use my space units as like extra damage or like utility, right? Disabling Fang Fighter's utility, Outland TIE Vanguard is utility. I have lots of utility cards, and then like the Outland Coronavirus card is a 3/5 that can help me. So again, we're just going over these thought processes in my mind, what cards to keep. Again, I probably end up cutting the 3/2 Unlicensed Headhunter. I look at all my big things. I don't want to cut any of them. I mean, I was considering Choose Sides for a second. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the Smuggle card. I ended up not playing Hondo, right? So that Smuggle card is a lot better in Hondo, so we get rid of it. And then can we count the cards? 4, 8... I don't know, it's hard to count on this screen. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 21, 4, 7, 32. I think I have 32 cards, 31 or 2. I'm looking at the 3-drops. I don't really want to cut any of them. Yeah, it's hard. Like, I could cut like maybe a duplicate, but yeah, right now I'm just thinking of cutting the Unlicensed Headhunter and calling it a day. But yeah, guys, you don't have to hear me ramble anymore about, you know, the last editions of my deck. Again, the Deathwatch Loyalist, I really like this card sometimes, but the 3/3, I don't like how it can just like die. So that's just me going over the decisions, and usually you have like, sometimes they even give you 30 minutes for deck construction afterwards in like a professional setting. In this game, maybe like 20 is more appropriate. Like, again, because you're not making that many decisions, you're just trying to cut like 12-ish cards, I think, because it's 14, 14, 14, right? 42. I was considering cutting a Dengar for like a half a second just because you know, it's a unique unit, but I really need all my 1-drops. And yeah, again, we're still rambling, guys, and I could probably ramble about this all day. But if you thought this video was helpful in any way, or you just like watching, you know, some Star Wars drafting, you know, let me know in the comments. If you guys have any more questions about like some decisions I made, or if you guys liked seeing this type of video and you want me to do another live draft, I can. It wasn't too hard to set up with the camera and everything. All it took long was to upload the images, but that's no problem at all, guys. So just let me know if you want to see another one of these videos. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys can see my thing, and peace.